Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Terriers Talk. And it's been a bit of a busy week. We've got two games to discuss. No signings or departures to speak about off the top of my head, so we're just gonna speak about the games against Plymouth and Borough in the Championship and Carabao Cup respectively. Start at Plymouth, both went. Um, First and foremost, how was the journey down? Because that was something that we mentioned quite early on in the episode last time.
Well, yeah, I've just about got rid of my jet lag. It was quite a grueling trip down, and the results didn't go our way. But that is Huddersfield Town, and that's a championship. Yeah, it was good. It was good to see, the faces that you missed on away days and stuff like that around the ground. Good to see so many Town fans. I mean, one thing to definitely point out was the amount of fans that made the trip down. I think it
Yeah.
was 1,600, which on the first day of the championship at Plymouth is quite incredible. So credit to everyone that went down, and it was good to see Town back out on the pitch. But unfortunately, yeah, the result, as we all know, didn't go our way.
Yeah, I mean, to sell out or almost sell out against Plymouth is a great feat, and I think it was pay on the day as well, or there was a few tickets pay on the day as well. So I think that obviously helped things. But like you say, it was obviously good to see faces. Good to see in town in some respects as well. The buzz of it was good, but then it was just a bit lackluster, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
3-1. Everyone knows the scoreline. I think first and foremost, before we actually speak about the game itself, do you reckon that was a fair result? Do you reckon it was flattering? How do you see it? Because I think for me, I think that we could have got something out of the game,
Yeah.
100%. And I think for parts of the game, although it'd be very minimal, we did look like a side that could get something out of it. I remember after half time, I turned to my friend and said, "Yeah, I think a draw here would be well, anything less than a draw here would be a bit poor, given how well we came out at the second half." But I felt that's kind of
Yeah, I mean, I think when you concede after 6 minutes, it's always going to be hard to recover, especially in the ground like that. And it was absolutely. I mean, Ben, you'll agree, it was absolutely rocking on
yeah,
Saturday. It,
everyone was.
I think we all knew it was going to be. We discussed it in the preview, and a lot of Plymouth fans got in touch with us and said the atmosphere is going to be incredible. We're really excited, and you could tell there was a buzz around the ground. But
Yeah,
um, I did really think we could get something out of it because coming level, drawing level just before half time. Michael Hellick, scrappy goal, we'll take it. However, we came out and for 20 minutes of the second half, we we were really good.
yeah,
Um, Mumba turns to Messi and scores on the 73rd minute, although albeit we'll discuss the terrible defending. But before that, we looked in the game, we looked on top. So to be, struck twice with two goals in the space of 3 minutes, I don't I don't think we didn't deserve it. I thought we did that. I've gone on quite an all about way of saying that we deserve to lose because it's the basics of football. If you can't defend, you don't win matches. So yeah, I mean, let's go into it. And yeah,
yeah.
6 minutes, Whitaker scores, and on the day the conditions were quite poor. Balls moving around in the air, the wind was quite poor, but I've heard quite a few people blame the wind and the conditions for the first goal, but it was just basics of football, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think before we even go into that, I think just very quickly if we can touch on the lineup, it was quite different from what we both expected. I think we both expected either a three or a five back, and we ended up playing a four. Just quickly reading that out: Nichols, Edwards, Matty Pearson, Hellick, Ruffles, Reg, Radoni, Prima Diarra, and then Salva Thomas, Karoma, and Danny Warden. I think many people thought that we were going to play in a five, very similar to what we'd been playing pretty much all of preseason, if not every single game in preseason. So I think that was a bit of a shift there anyway. But it was just a lack of communication, and it was from two players that last season did so well communicating, and
Yeah.
it was just a bit puzzling because you kind of sat there going, well, how's that been the case? It wasn't really a situation where it was a wonder strike or anything like that. There's just a few things where Nichols hasn't claimed it, for example, and is that a case of just he hasn't been in that situation in a while. Because obviously, while he's played pre-season and things like that, obviously he's not played in a championship setting consistently since you know before December. I want to say.
Yeah.
Obviously, he played at the end of the season, but he didn't play a consistent stretch of games. So, is that something there? These questions have got to be asked, and it would
I
just
just think
pop
it was
on it.
scrappy.
Yeah,
It was just really scrappy. And then the majority of the first half, it was relatively back and forth until
yeah,
we hit back with Hellick, and it was good work from Town. You know, we moved the ball around quite well. I think Diarra has a shot, rockets off the post, and Hellick's there to mop up
yeah.
what isn't a relatively easy finish. And you're thinking, right, 1-1, half time, let's go, let's come out after the second half and really, be strict in how we play, be quite regimented, and we were really good, and we had multiple opportunities to score. And I think, as Fozzie said, on another day they probably go in, but it wasn't our day because 73rd minute, Mumba runs through our whole team.
Yeah, I think even before then, like we could have taken the lead. We could have equalised through Karoma,
Yeah. Oh
um,
yeah,
through
shocking,
the
wasn't it?
through the volley. Well, not the volley, but he takes the ball down and he takes too long over it, and that's again is that a case of just confidence because last season Karoma scores that. I think anybody would say that, and then
Yeah,
you kind of got to ask that question. I think a big turning point of the game, with how we're saying that we got back on top of things, was Hogg coming on.
yeah,
Gives us some stability in midfield, and that's nothing against Edmonds Green. It's more a case of Hogg just came in and regimented the entire team, and that's something that we needed massively because it shook us all up. Um, I think it wasn't really too much of a well, no, it was a bit of a concern when Pearson went down because you didn't really know what the situation was there. Obviously, we've been told that's a
he's all
deadline.
right. Yeah,
Be all
yeah,
right, yeah. But obviously, Hogg coming on changed the game up, and we looked a lot more solid, looked a lot more stable with things. Looked, I want to say a bit more of an outlet as well.
yeah.
Thinking of the pass to Tom Edwards late on in the first half, where he played it into the space and Edwards then attacked the ball. But yeah, like you say, Ballymumba, he's gone through five players, and I think a big thing that I want to mention about this that I've got written in the notes was a lot of people blamed Sorba for that, and I think it's really unfair to do that because Sorba's playing on the right hand side in an advanced position, and he's in the middle of the pitch when Mumba goes past him.
Yeah.
So there's at least three other players there that you can say, well, who picks him up there? Why is Sorba having to
Yeah,
come on feet?
yeah. It's not his role, like you say. I think Hogg did come on, and for a small period of time, we did look more stable. But for
Yeah,
the majority of that game on Saturday, I was thinking, where on earth's our midfield? The amount of times we just, we'd look absolutely petrified to make a tackle. I tweeted this on Saturday. We looked scared, um, and it was actually quite worrying. I know Edmonds Green's new to that position, but he looked completely out of it. He looked gassed, out on his feet. Um, but yeah, I mean, on Saturday there was absolutely no midfield, and that was just exemplified by what Mumba did to us. He run us absolutely ragged, and when you cut through that easily like butter, there's no real excuse. You've just got it's just basics of football, and albeit a very good goal and a very impressive run because you've still got to beat those 4 or 5 men and put it in the bottom corner. But it's not what you want to see. It's not encouraging, is it?
no, I think heads dropped massively after that, and I mean there was the chance just after that with Diarra
DR, wasn't it? Yeah,
who shot low, and it just went wide of the post again, as Fotheringham would maybe have said on another day that goes in, but it's another one where that chance was there. There was two more Diarra chances as well before they even scored. There was the cross that almost looped in, and then there was I think personally the biggest chance of the game when Diarra gets the ball off their keeper. I can't remember his name for the life of me,
yep,
but
yeah,
gets
yeah.
the ball off his keeper and shoots. He saves well, in all fairness to him. Um, but
Ridoni wasn't happy, was
the
he?
question, does he? Why does he not square that? And I think
Yeah,
that's a question of is that just because it's first game of the season, 3 games in, does he maybe square that, this, that, the other? How does he play it differently? So it was one of them where I feel like it just it wasn't our day, but we didn't help ourselves to make it our
No,
day. I think there was
perfectly
just
summed up. Yeah,
there was a lot of things where things could have been done, maybe would have been done differently later in the season, would have been done differently if the game was played on Sunday. So many things that we can sit and say, and we can. I don't want to make excuses for, but we can make excuses for. Um, and then obviously game was done and dusted about 3 minutes later through Ryan Hardy. Balls played through the middle. He isn't picked up by either Edmonds Green or Hellick, which again you'd expect them to do so. Hardy knows exactly where he's putting the ball before he's even received the ball.
yeah.
Goes in, scores, and that opens the question up of that's something that Town need, isn't it? Really, somebody that somebody can get the ball, can A make that run through, and then B finish that chance off. So I want to open that question to you, Jay. Is that something that you kind of took a massive note of on Saturday and kind of went, we do need somebody new coming in as striker? Obviously, we knew before Saturday that a striker would be wanted, but did Saturday kind of settle that in for you?
Long story short, yeah, completely. Um, and it's interesting to see because after last night's defeat to Borough, Warnock did say, "We know we're looking for a striker, but we're only going to get a striker who will come in and improve our team." So already, he's already saying, if you're not better than Harrott, Hudley, and Ward and Rhodes, you're not coming in, and that's a bit concerning. I think we'll speak about this later because we do need a striker. We've needed a striker for absolutely donkey's years. I think our last properly prolific striker who we could trust with scoring goals was Jordan Rose, and that was 2012.
I
You
think
know,
I
we've
think you
had
could put Wells and
Wells,
Carlos Ward in there as well.
yeah, but it's just again they're flashing the pans. Um,
Mooney
yeah,
as well.
Mounier, yeah, but again, these are just one one campaign where you're looking at 10, 15 goals maximum.
Yeah,
Goal scoring is a massive issue, and I think we'll go on to that. I think that'll be a theme for the rest of the season. But just to end on Plymouth, it was really disappointing day. But it was always going to be one of those games, and we said this before. It was never going to be easy because you're looking at a side who've just come up and they're hungry, and we said this in the preview. It was never going to be easy, and it turned out to be exactly like we spoke about.
yeah. I think there is two positive notes that I want to touch on as well. Though is the fact that, well, three, Hogg looked lively when he came on. I think you could still tell that he wasn't fully there yet, um, and that's why he probably didn't start the game. I think he probably would have started the game if he was a bit later down the recovery
Yeah,
line.
yeah,
Harrott looked lively when he came on, pressed well, had a chance late on in the box. It wasn't really could have been much more than a late goal. Wasn't going to get us back into the game because it was so late in. And then Pat Jones as well, who really impressed me when he came on. Looked very good. Um, Looked different to what we had. Offered something going forward and was a was a really positive player on the ball. Looked
yeah,
dangerous throughout. So if those two are going to play, obviously Harriet we know is going to play quite consistently this season, but if Pat Jones is to increase his minutes over the course of the season, he's a player that looks good. We saw Jackson again late on as well, who was all right. It was a very average sort of cameo. But we played the young lads in the second half. We gave a few of them chances. But speaking about the young lads and giving them chance moves us perfectly onto Borough. Neither of us went, and it was another 3-1 loss. So maybe a positive thing. But
yeah.
yeah, it's 6 goals in a week. It's
It's a shocking start, isn't it? 6 goals, two scored,
well, three. We scored. Yeah.
three scored. Hudlin.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it 3-1. See, that's how disinterested I was, unfortunately. Yeah, 6 goals, three scored, two losses, 2 games played. A great week for Huddersfield Town. It sounds like, and I've watched the highlights, and I've gone on Twitter, read all the stuff, looked at the stats. Deserved. Looking at the stats, simply 77% Borough on the ball. I know they put out a relatively strong side compared to our 10 changes, but the 10
I think it
changes
was
who.
almost the full strength side for them.
Yeah, yeah,
In
yeah. No,
season.
it was a good side, but however, the people that we did see, most of them have featured in the championship before.
Yeah,
Um, and I know it's all about development. Warnock did. He said in his press conference, "I did warn the public, and I didn't want them to get the hopes up because we never have a cup run, do we?"
no,
But I mean, some of the players that did take to the field for Huddersfield Town yesterday are very experienced players. It was good to see Yuta back in the starting lineup after his injury in November, I think, against
yeah,
Sunderland. Good to see players like Aina. I think he was thought of quite highly at Dundee last season.
yeah,
Um, Maxwell making his competitive debut, Hudlin coming on, scoring a goal, Harriet starting, Rhodes probably making his last ever appearance for Town, which is a shame, but I think it's quite inevitable unless we don't find a striker. But you know, it all looks good. We score in the 3rd minute. Um, their keeper makes a horrible pass. Their defender then plays the ball to Harriet, and he takes it very well. 1-0, happy days.
yeah. I think
And then it all
I
goes
think it's
wrong.
something that we've seen a lot though in it. We looked really strong pressing the goalkeeper on Saturday, and we did
Yeah,
again yesterday, or at least from
yeah, I
that
agree.
first goal. We're both going off the highlights as the match wasn't available on iFollow or anything like that. So it's literally just going off highlights. But the goal came from a chance that was picked up on the goalkeeper from being poor on the ball, pressed him well. And you get a goal from it, Harriet. You don't really miss in that situation, regardless of who it is.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, it's a good goal, but it's positive that we're pressing so high and being confident pressing so high against the goalkeeper because we proved that we're happy to do so. Then the game changes with the red card, doesn't it? Really?
Stonewall, isn't it? You
Yeah,
can't really complain. He just it literally lovely pass across field. He's out of position, runs back, and literally just elbows him. So you can't complain. And I think from there on, looking at the stats and the overall feel of the game, it's Borough's game.
yeah,
718 passes they made to our 224, and we had a pass accuracy of 58%. So if we did make a pass, 60% of the time it was on target. It's sloppy. Unfortunately. Um, and I think it's a common theme. I don't want to go too long on it. Too, yeah, you get what I mean. I don't want to ramble on too
yeah,
much about this, but it's defending. The 2 goals afterwards, we were cut through like butter again.
yeah,
Um, Jones and McGree, I think it was.
yeah. It was yeah,
Both goals, we are open in the middle in the middle of defence. One pass gets played through, and simple as that, the throw on goal. We can't keep doing this, and I know it's quite evident at Plymouth. But I think it will come with time. We'll tighten up.
yeah,
Um, because we know in players like Hellick, we've got senior defenders, Lees, Pearson, who can really defend. I mean, Lees and Pearson nearly got us promoted to the Premier League, so I think it'll come with time. No one was really hopeful for a cup run. Neither was Warnock, to be fair. But there are some positives to take out of it because our 2 goal scorers are young strikers who are increasingly more highly thought of. So it is positive, isn't it?
yeah. We touched on it. Hudley and Harriet, both putting themselves into the question for if they should be kept around. Because both of them have been linked with moves away. I think Harrett and Hudlin have both been linked to Port Vale. So
I'd
you
throw
know,
him in.
this
I'd throw him in from the start. That's the thing
I think
people are saying.
you've got to question it now, haven't you?
Yeah,
They've made
no, I
names for
agree.
themselves. Well, they're not made names for themselves, but they made questions for themselves to be in there.
Yeah,
So
they're in the shop window, aren't they?
yeah,
I mean, they
what
really
about
are. I mean,
Morrison?
I think Hudlin played 4 or 5 games in pre-season, and then against Borough yesterday, I think he scored in probably all of them, if not
So
maybe 4 out of 5. I think he's scored in every game he's played in,
yeah,
or close to. So even though it is against Hervey or Borough or some Cornish Sunday League side, he's still scoring goals. And
yeah,
I think what is positive is even though he's 6'9", he's a bit of a giraffe. He's very good on the ball.
yeah,
He can bring the ball down. He can link and play. He can drop in. He can hold the ball up. And I think we might have a little Crouch and Defoe situation here with him and Harrett if they are paired more, because when they were paired and if they are paired in the future, I think it'll work quite well because one of them can drop in and win the ball, the other one can run off and press high like Harrit does. So if Warnock does give him a chance, I know he loves Wardy, and I don't think he can move Wardy out of the starting 11. It could turn out to be quite a positive partnership.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's one of them where before the game, nobody was expecting us to go out and beat Borough. You see the lineup, nobody's expecting to go and beat Borough even more. And then, especially with the red card, I think that's kind of like sealed. It is what it is, but you get to see the younger lads against a decent Borough, against a very decent Borough side. And
Yeah,
I think
very deep.
that's
Yeah, yeah, strong. Yeah,
you get to see exactly where those players are. It's one game, yeah, and you can always have a good game or a bad game, but Nakayama playing a long spell of that game as well, positive
positive.
means
Yeah,
that is he going to potentially be in the question to start on Saturday? You'd imagine, you'd hope so.
Hog
Um,
getting another half is quite
yeah,
positive as well. I know he was. It was a plan change for Scott High, who made his 50th time appearance. But again, that's positive. Skipper's
yeah,
got 45 minutes and he's come out of it unscathed, so that's really good.
yeah. I think it's obviously not nice to be knocked out of the cup, but you get to see players that potentially wouldn't have been given the chance in the championship against a good championship side. Many people have Borough to do well this year, and they didn't play a far off first strength 11. So there's positives to take from it. There's positives to take from the Plymouth game away from the result. I know you can look at it very doom and gloom and just say 6 goals conceded, 3 goals scored doesn't read well, but there's positives that you can take from there, from the negatives that are very blaringly obvious. So, and then we've got Leicester coming up, which we shall do another episode talking about in the style that we did for Plymouth. But yeah, I think that sums us up for the reviews of both Middlesbrough and Plymouth. Unless there's anything that we need to add.
Nothing from me now.
Nothing from me as well. Well, we hope you have enjoyed. As always, please like and share and do the rest of that. Leave a good review because it helps us on Spotify and Apple. Helps us get on the charts potentially. And yeah, thank you as always for listening, and we shall see you tomorrow for the Leicester preview.